Hey class, welcome back. So last week you guys were able to finish lesson 2.6, which means we are moving on to chapter 3, which is lesson 3.1, rock layers. Okay, activity 1, returning to the rocky outcrop. We're working as geologists to figure out what this area was like in the past. What have we figured out so far about rock layers, environments, and Desert Rocks National Park? Okay, so this looks very familiar, this diagram. You have drawn your own, and you have also answered claims about both the lower layer and the upper layer. So as you can see here, they are labeled for you now. In your arguments last week, what I was looking for was you explaining the environment. So the lower layer is the floodplain, all right? And what I was looking for in your arguments was you using the evidence that you have learned. You know that siltstone forms in floodplains and deep oceans and other places, but the one thing that really should have made you think that the floodplain was a floodplain in the lower layer was because of the Lepidodendron fossil. So it was a plant fossil, okay? And then also for the argument about the upper layer, those of you who said that mudstone formed in the deep ocean, you were correct, or who thought it was the deep ocean, mainly because of the fossil, and both of the fossils that are there are creatures that live in the ocean. So, therefore, we can infer that the upper layer was deep ocean. What evidence do we have to support the claim that the lower rock layer formed in the floodplain and the upper layer rock formed in a deep ocean? Number one, what kind of stone it is made out of, siltstone and mudstone. But number two is the fossils. We have fossil evidence, all right? We have evidence about the kinds of sedimentary rock in both layers, and we know about the environments in which this rock can form. We also have the fossil evidence for both layers. Different kinds of sedimentary rock form in different environments. These environments could not have been here at the same time, but which one came first? So, looking at the two layers, which layer do you think formed first? Okay, this is the chapter 3 question that we will be investigating. What is the order of the past environments of Desert Rocks National Park? Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, that's so easy, right? Because we're thinking about layers. Now, moving forward, we're going to investigate this question today. How can geologists tell what order rock layers formed in? Thinking about a topic before we start investigating can help make it easier for us to learn new information. What do you already know about sedimentary rock layers and how they form? If you guys remember, in class, we made those models of sedimentary rock inside the clear cups. We had the choice of two sediments, right? And we were able to make layers. So, hopefully you guys are getting some clues and remembering how these layers actually formed, because in class, we made two different layers. So think about which one you and your partner did first, whether it was sand or gravel, and then think about which one you formed second. Okay. This activity, the paper pile model, you may do this at home if you please. Okay. What you will need is a bunch of different papers, okay, different colored papers, and you're going to pretend that they are a kind of sediment, all right? And you're going to stack the papers on top of each other, and each color represents a rock layer, okay? So moving forward. If you are to stack the paper, you are going to notice where the colors are at. So for example, if we use red, yellow, and green, and we put red on the bottom, yellow next, and then green at the top, which layer formed first? The red one, of course, because it's the one that is at the very, very bottom. All right? Now, activity number 3, investigating the order of rock layers. Think about the sedimentary rock formation models that you made. So we can't see ours because ours are in the classroom all alone. But this is exactly what it looked like. You have you and your partner's initials, and you got 2 different layers and 2 different dates. How many different layers do you see? If you said 2, then you're correct. Are the rock layers the same or different kinds of sedimentary rock? No, they're not. And how do you know? You should know, because when we did this experiment in class, it was a major point to use 2 different kinds of sediment. Which rock layer in your model formed first and which formed second? Now, let's look at these 2 samples here from SR and YK. So in the cup on the left and the cup on the right, the dates are the same, 9/9 and 9/14. So that means September 9 and September 14. So which layer came first? Which one is the oldest layer? The oldest layer is the one on the bottom, the one that was formed on September 9. Which layer is younger? The one that formed September 14. What does this model help you understand about the way rock layers form over time? Hopefully, it helps you understand that the rock layers on the bottom of a rocky outcrop form first, and the rock layers on the top form last. Now, reflecting on order of rock layers. This is activity number 4. We've been investigating how geologists can tell what order rock layers formed in. We'll use what we learned from the paper pile model, which we didn't get to do, but we just discussed, to figure out what order the rock layers formed in a different rocky outcrop, Hunstanton Cliff in England. Here is Hunstanton Cliff. What do you observe about this rocky outcrop? If you observe, you can see that there are 2 totally different layers. We have this really thick orange one here, and then we have this top one and a very clear separation between them. Okay? What evidence from class models supports your claim about which rock layer is older? Which one do you think is older? The lower layer or the upper layer? That's right, the lower layer is the oldest layer. It must have formed first in order for this one to form on top of it. Okay, whoops. All right. In the next lesson, we will continue to investigate and think about how rock layers form. That is all for today. Please continue on to the next video and have a good Monday.